Action. Is it rolling? Hello, my name is Artsy, the Artsy sister, and we're reading Saturnastra Marduke. This is the start of Chapter 11, Part 1, The Tower of Suberus. My military life dominated the rest of my existence. At times I felt as if I had forgotten something very important. There was something I was supposed to do, but I could no longer remember what it was. By the age of 16, I had participated in hundreds of campaigns. During the time, I got to appreciate Bersame's power. I also discovered the source of his strength. Whenever he was in a pinch, he drew strength from that opaque stone that he carried with him. The transfer of energy was imperceptible because it was neither magical nor spiritual. It was something else. Time and time again, I would start Bersame around to try to steal the stone. Even when we had his woman, he never removed the pendant. To make matters worse, it seemed to me that he rarely slept. The stone's power kept him awake all the time, or so I fancied. Once I saw him dozing off in his study. The stone awoke him the second I was 5 meters away from him. From time to time, I would test the range of the stone. I concluded that the stone activated whenever it perceived its wielder's life was in danger. His physical powers were just the tip of the iceberg. I discovered this in my last mission. This mission began like all the others. We all assembled in the training ground. As usual, Bersame briefed us on the specs of our mission. We were going to raid the Tower of Suberus. The reasons why Bersame wanted him dead are too long and tedious to explain. I simply wish to emphasize the fact that we were going to war for another stupid reason. According to spies, Suberu had 1,000 well-trained elemental mages serving under him. They were capable in their own respective field. Rumor had it that Suberus could call upon all the 12 demon races. He also fully mastered all of the 12 elements. To make matters worse, he also had the power over life and death. There was a good chance that we would not survive this trip. Bersame's plan was simple. We would surround the tower and kill everyone. For months, Bersame's scouts have been intercepting the tower's supply caravans. By now, they should be pretty starved and running low on spell components. After this briefing, we headed out. It was a week's journey away from Veragerum. The main tower was located in a high cliff overlooking the sea. At the base of the cliff was a ruined city. According to folklore, the tower was cursed. All its masters had died in a horrible fashion, and it seemed that the new master was going to meet a similar fate. Over time, those who lived at the base of the tower had abandoned the city. That night we camped in the ruined town. All the houses had either 1 or 2 walls missing. Only a few still had their roofs. What they all had in common was the sand. The entire place was full of it. That day I wandered out of the city and went to the beach. It was the first time I had seen the majestic ocean outside of my dreams. The sea had a lovely scent of salt. I placed my hand on the sand and noticed that it was immaculate. There was not even a tiny pebble in the water. Looking about, I noticed that there was not a ship in sight. I sort of figured that it had to do with the ill repute of this accursed tower. I watched the sun set over the beach. Its timid glow sank into the water, allowing for the golden moon to shine over the sea. That day, all 7 moons were present. The sky was opaque by their presence. It seemed like it was going to be a very auspicious night for someone. Time?
11 minutes.
I sat down on the sand and allowed it to fill up my armor. I was too relaxed to take the impending battle seriously. Slowly, the sounds of the waves started rocking me to sleep, and while I dozed off, I heard a padded movements approaching me. I kept pretending to be asleep. It got so close that I could hear its breathing. The presence dissipated into the wind. It seemed that it had changed its mind about killing me. When I was certain that it was gone, I checked the sand for footsteps. Only mine were visible in the darkness. Since it was getting late, I made my way back to camp in the darkness. Well, there was not too much darkness. The light shining from the moons left the ground pretty visible. When I got back, I saw that they were holding a funeral. Overnight, half the army had been wiped out by a death spell. Bersame did not seem too perturbed by the loss. He knew that death spells of this magnitude took weeks of preparation. So there was probably not going to be another one for quite a long time. Needless to say, we will not expect another massacre. After we buried the dead, Bersame said, "We rested enough. The longer we wait, the more chances we will give our enemies to cast another spell on us. Slowly, cautiously, we made our way into the tower. I left my surviving troops alone and went on ahead. Frankly, I wanted to venture into the tower alone. When we surrounded the tower, a cascade of demons rained down from the roof. As they came in, Bersamin started striking them down. His troops too tried to fight them off. However, only the wounds perpetrated by Bersamin were effective. He yelled at us, "Run for your lives! Only my axe has the power to slay these demons." Once again, our troops retreated. The demons did not follow them. They seemed hell-bent on killing Bersamin once and for all. Unlike the others who fled out of fear of the demon, I stayed nearby. From time to time, a demon would try to strike me. I too would fight them, even if my sword failed to pierce the skin. Eventually, the two was surrounded. To survive, I was forced to call upon my true self. My shadow started emitting a blue flame. Twitching it rose from the ground and it stood on its feet. Quickly, it went from 2D to 3D. Its shadowy face cracked, revealing the face that I would have had I never had any contact with my mother. My true face was cold, disdainful. It had short, white, straight hair and lavender eyes. His face was feminine looking. His body was smaller than mine, and it did not have a hint of musculature. That form drew out of the shadow my true blade. At its start, the dark blade emitted a pure white light, until it became a holy sword. The demons stopped approaching when they saw its sacred light. We stood back to back, and we raised this blade, and I did the same. My sword too began to emit this light. In one clear voice, we said, "Mirror blade." Suddenly my movements became automated. I could barely follow the trace of the slashes I gave. In essence, I had become the shadow, and my shadow had become the master. My true self was terribly faster than the form I was currently inhabiting. Our fast movements This movement was so fast that my eyes could barely follow. I knew I moved swiftly because I felt the strains of my muscle. Effortlessly, my true form would dodge the attacks of the demon. He also had the habit of giving unnaturally high jumps whenever he slashed a flying demon. I felt the worst strains whenever he sliced the solid earth demons. Their bodies seemed to be made of diamonds. In one swing, he would effortlessly slice them. Since I was now the shadow of my shadow, I was forced to mimic him as well. I felt my wrist cracking after the first swing. After 5 minutes of fighting like this, I felt as if my heart was about to burst. Luckily, the battle ended before I suffered any serious damage to this current body of mine. After my short battle ended, my true form put away our sword. Like a mask, the darkness grew around my true face. He sank back to the ground, and he became a normal shadow again. Much to my surprise, I saw that Bersamin was allowing the demons to strike him. They would pierce his flesh and bite on his bone. He seemed intrigued by my little mirror blade. Suddenly he remembered that he was being devoured by demons. He held his hand around his amulet and he spoke words of magic. While he spoke those words, his wood and even his armor recuperated. Time?
6 minutes.
Soon the entire battalion of demons went back to whence they came. Bersamin walked up to me and he said, "I knew you were magic." I answered back, "Hardly. Mirror blade is a technique that compensates for the skill which I like." Hearing this, he kneeled down and he petted my shadow. He then said to it, "So I guess you're the one who is magic." I know my shadow responded. "Only a fool speaks with a shadow." I then added, "Sorry to disappoint you, Bersamin, but it's nothing magical or supernatural about my shadow." "Care to explain?" he demanded. "It's hard to explain. Even I don't understand how it works. All I know is that I can use my shadow very efficiently." I then added, smirking, "When you going to slay a pesky little mage?" "Oh, I forgot it," he said, laughing in the darkness. He coughed a little and he added, "I hope no one will saw me cast that spell." "Your secret is safe with me, as long as you keep quiet about my mirror blade," I answered. Bersamin mused a little and then he said, "I could simply kill you. The dead are known to be as silent as the grave." I interrupted him by saying, "They are silent for those that refuse to listen. Point taken." Petting his bloody axe. Acha.
Gotcha.
Bloody axe.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
You know, the thing he used to chop wood.
Okay.
He's wood chopper. Betty is wood. He's bloody wood chopper.
Okay.
He said, I decided to make use of you a little longer. Go and fetch the others. Tell them I took care of the scary demons. In the meantime, I will go on ahead. Time?
4 minutes and 50 seconds.
While he climbed up the tower, I quietly followed along. I sent my true form in disguise as me to inform the others. Since I was trailing behind Bertram, there would be no one to notice that I did not have a shadow. Before I continue, I wanted to explain something about my shadow and my true self. This human flesh and body I wear is a restraint. I cannot be in my true form because I'm on a mission. I cannot drop my mask until... What was I supposed to do? Anyhow, the mirror blade works like this. Normally you see a person fighting. Via a mirror blade, you can tap into the person's shadow and mimic their fighting pattern. This move can only be performed by your shade. By releasing control to your shadow, you can duplicate this fighting skill. It all sounds fine and dandy, except when your body starts breaking down. At most, I can only use my mirror blade in my human body for 5 minutes. The interior of the main cell was silent. All over the place we saw dead apprentices. It seemed as if the army of demons was their final gambit. From time to time, magical traps would activate. Whenever there were ice spikes, rocks, boulders, vines, etc., Bertram's amulet would dissipate its effect. It seemed to cast its own sort of anti-magic aura that eroded the spells around him. Each time he ran into a dead apprentice, Bertram gave a sad sigh. He was very disappointed at not finding anyone to kill. He checked room by room. In all of them, they seemed to have either starved or died from spell exhaustion. In the second to last level, we saw 2 mages in midst of spellcasting. When they saw Bertram enter, they switched to swifter, less complicated magic. They simply slowed down Bertram. One by one, he decapitated them with his executioner's axe. Others were simply sliced in half and left to rot in the ground. The luckier ones died instantaneously when their heads were split in half. When he was done with his macabre work, he made his way upstairs. I waited a bit before following. I was interested in the rooms painted on the floor and the walls and the roof. The room had 2 wide open windows. One faced the sea and the other the ruined town. I did not linger in this room for very long. I was curious to see how this affair might end. The final staircase was held up by columns. It allowed for you to see outside the tower, in the darkness. I noticed my true self climbing out the wall of the tower. It afterward assumed the position of my shade. By now, I saw Bertram standing before the door. He seemed a bit hesitant to open it. The second he did, a giant serpent mouth leaped out. With all his strength, Bertram held back the beast with his bare hands. The beast was so huge that it was pushing him down the staircase. He then placed his foot at the base of the serpent's mouth. This freed one of his hands to grab his axe, woodchopper, which he used to cut the serpent's face in half. The snake went limp for a moment, and then his head, sliced in half, turned into 2 heads. I heard him yell, "Damn, I hate hydras." The newly revived twin-headed snake started wrapping around the columns. Bertram climbed towards the roof. Since I was still in the staircase, I did not see much of the battle. Suddenly, the pieces of the snake started raining down. Apparently, he had chopped them into tons of little pieces. I saw him climb down off the roof, and all the while he kept chopping at the giant snake. Needless to say, he made sushi out of a hydra before he had a chance to grow any more heads. In a dark maze study, I heard a moan followed by a quick throwing of magic words. The mage hiding within was saying them so quickly that I couldn't discern one word from another. Bertram too heard the voice coming within. He ran into the darkness, and suddenly the entire room was aglow with a sacred light. I saw within Bertram pinned to the floor. The holy attack rained sacred light upon him that was ripping his body and armor to shreds. Time?
30 seconds.
Alright, we'll continue this adventure later. Bye, love, and God bless.